All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video we're talking about the FateBringer, which is about to come into the game tomorrow at the time I'm recording this. And if you haven't looked up the rules for this thing yet, you need to, because this thing is going to be the most insane hand cannon inside Destiny. I mean, Bungie has really pulled all the strings for a lot of these weapons that are returning, and the FateBringer is probably one of the ones that stands out the most. Here we go. I'll cover some of the perks on this. So it's a 140 archetype, which I think the 180s are a little bit better in PvE, and the 140s obviously not the best in PvP. And mostly we're looking at this weapon for PvE purposes because, well, that's where it stands out the most with its perks. So first up, we have this new perk called Rewind Rounds. When this weapon's magazine is empty, it refills from reserves based on number of hits. Now, I'm assuming this is probably a 1-to-1 ratio because it takes from reserves, and there's been a lot of things lately that are sort of like infinite fire weapons, like for example with the hung jury, Firefly subsistence, pretty much an infinite fire weapon. So this will make this weapon seemingly an infinite fire. We'll see if it's a 1-to-1 ratio. It could be a 2-to-1 ratio. Like for example, you get 2 hits in the magazine, and then when you get to the bottom of the magazine, you're refunded 1 shot. We'll see how that works. This is also on a sniper as well. So if it's on a sniper, I mean, obviously you don't really want an infinite fire sniper, so maybe not, maybe 2-to-1. We'll see, time will tell, but this perk already sounds like it's going to be insane. I mean, it's meant to be a new perk from specifically raid weapons and game activities, so I know this will be a good perk at the very least. We'll see how strong it is. Next up, and the very next perk we have is Explosive Payload, a perk that I've mentioned many times before, is bugged and actually does 20% more damage across the board. Very, very strong perk in PvE, especially in high-end content like raids and grandmasters, etc. You're really going to want a perk like Explosive Payload. Killing Wind, not going to be the best perk overall, more of a PvP perk if anything. Tunnel Vision is not going to be the strongest, especially compared to Explosive Payload or Rewind Rounds. It's hard to say that. Osmosis is kind of a funny perk, but not the strongest, and Thresh are not going to be the strongest overall. So really between these two, if you're going to get this God roll, if you get a FateBringer drop for you, if you have one of these perks, you're going to be building a pretty solid God rolled build. Next up, in the next slot, we have a bunch of crazy perk options. I mean, Frenzy is a very, very good damage perk because it just stays on your character for a very long period of time as you're in combat. So Frenzy is always solid. Along with that, we've got this new perk that's coming to the game. Well, new / reprise perk that's come back now, Firefly, which also has Outlaw in it, so it gives you faster reload, which will always be really good at clearing ads. So between those two alone, you already have a really strong build. I mean, if you had Explosive Payload Firefly, that would be insane. Explosive Payload Frenzy would be insane. Rewind Rounds, depends on how strong this is. Frenzy or Firefly are already going to be insane. And then next up with this, we'll have Eye of the Storm, not going to be nearly as strong as a perk. Kill Clip's not a half bad perk. This is something that I use regularly in like Grandmasters because you can't keep like a perk like Rampage procced. But it does have Frenzy, which would probably be more consistent than Kill Clip, but definitely interesting to see Kill Clip in there. Opening Shot, not going to be the strongest. And this Adrenaline Junkie perk, I've tested out a little bit. It is a pretty good perk, but definitely not going to be as strong as something like Frenzy or Firefly. So if you're out there looking for the God roll, depending upon how strong Rewind Rounds are, wow, that's hard to say. Rewind Rounds. Wow, I feel like I have a speech impediment when I say that. Say that 50 times fast. All right. Between these two perks and these two perks, you're going to find the God roll. Explosive, Frenzy, Explosive, Firefly. So that's going to be a wrap. If you get that first try, make sure to send me a screenshot on Twitter because I'll definitely be very, very jealous. Looks like the curated role actually has that role, so I'm not sure if there is going to be a curated role from dropping in this, but we'll see. But that's going to be a wrap for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.